Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Eric Strafel on the line, and he's the founder over at SUMMi7. Eric, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. I appreciate the opportunity.
So I'm excited to get more into what you're doing over at SUMMi7 and about you telling us more about your inclusive ecosystem. But before we do that, I do want to get a little bit further into your background. So tell us a little bit more about how you got started in your career in business, please.
Yeah, thanks. So, a lot of things led up to where I'm at today. I grew up in a household with a father that worked hard in his career, started a business at one time. My mother did a lot of odd jobs and through highs and lows, always woke up optimistic about the future. And so I grew up in a household of hard work and optimism. That plays into everything I've done today. I was always naturally curious, a problem solver. That led into me getting into engineering and my engineering degree and solving problems, which then throughout my career, I've been working in bigger roles and bigger companies from engineering to program management, operations management, and then eventually running big divisions of companies and solving bigger and bigger problems. And then as I did that, I started to feel a desire to give back, and that goes back into growing up. I remember my father always helping out neighbors whenever he could, and so I have a deep desire to serve. And so leveraging what I built up over my career and problem solving and visioning and strategy and driving that into execution and engaging teams, I have now taken that and tried to find a way to give back and serve other companies and smaller businesses and help to share and help other people find their journey, which is what led into the launch of SUMMi7, which is where I'm at today.
Man, I love that. And I think there's some people listening that fall in your category. So meaning they've worked for these large companies, they've had successful careers, and they're always looking for different ways to give back. And some of them have some ideas that maybe they haven't acted on, but you're a little bit different because you had an idea and you did transform that into SUMMi7, which so you did have which we're going to get into, of course. But that being said, for some of those other people out there that are still kind of sitting on their idea and want to give back, what kind of advice do you give them to going from the idea stage to implementing it and making it into reality?
Yeah, it started out with understanding my values, and I had to go back to really understand what am I passionate about, what do I really value in life, and what are the social causes that I care about. And then maybe, starting back 15, 20 years ago, I would start to volunteer just on the side on weekends, a lot of times part of corporate initiatives. Eventually, I got onto the advisory board of a small business council. I started to do some nonprofit consulting and it started to give back in different ways. And so in a way, I was kind of testing out different ways to contribute and find a way that I could leverage my skills to contribute. And so for those that are looking to do that, figure out where your passions are, figure out what social causes you would really enjoy supporting, figure out who you are and what you have best to contribute. Everybody has something to contribute. And whatever that is, start to engage, and just through weekend projects or volunteering, oftentimes companies allow you to do that or support you do that. I work at a company now in Boeing that does a huge amount of that, and so I have an amazing opportunity to engage in all sorts of things, and that has really just fueled my passion even more to give back. But it all started with a 15, 20-year journey of trying things that I'm really excited about, finding my strengths and leveraging those.
And that's awesome. I want to switch it up a bit. I think that's a great transition. Let's get into what you're doing over at SUMMi7. So first, tell us a little bit more about the organization, please.
Yeah, so SUMMi7 was born last year, and what happened was we see this problem playing out in the world. I took a sustainability course, Harvard Business School course. And what we're talking about is how do we create a bigger difference in the world? And you see all the innovation going on with technology and information availability, geopolitics, and transforming economies and the connected global economy. And then these rapidly evolving business models, largely driven by technology, but also changing customer expectations. And with all that change, it's fueling a lot of debate and dialogue. And rather than people learning and growing together from that, it's creating a lot of friction that creates what I think is an unhealthy divide and a lot of rhetoric that is divisive. And so with the world and all this change, my aha moment was seeing these companies and leaders and even working at one with people trying to build bridges. And so I see ways to do that with purpose-driven businesses. So we're connecting to a deeper purpose, sustainability and social impact, and really trying to make a positive impact in the globe. Values-driven leadership and building bridges and bringing that into how we apply technology. And you see that with Walmart, with Starbucks, with Microsoft, and a lot of CEOs and a lot of smaller companies growing with those broader impacts in mind. And I said, you know what if I can take the skill set that I have of developing a big company enterprise vision, a strategy, and then engaging employees, which is what I'm really passionate about through leadership and purpose, and turn that into a repeatable system to help small companies grow with purpose, with authenticity, with social impact in mind, and scale their leadership in accordance to that. And it's a bit like you see a conversation today about digitally native companies that are born in the cloud, feeding off of data. And those technology companies we sometimes call digitally native companies. Well, what if we have companies that as they start to grow and scale, they grow and scale that with a default to doing good? And so with the triple bottom line, as they say, so we're trying to grow the business. We're growing the business to give us financial returns so we can reinvest not only in the business and the employees, but so we can give back to the environment and social causes that we care about. And if we get more and more companies that do that, we'll be able to connect on a deeper level. We'll be able to create change. So SUMMit was me taking some of that knowledge and then partnering with a bunch of entrepreneurs, a great team of entrepreneurs to help create a repeatable operating system to help small companies scale with purpose. And so we've now done that. We piloted with 5 companies now where we go in and just talk to companies, figure out how to drive into a deeper purpose of where they want to go and the impact they want to make. And that purpose is what connects employees and leaders to the customers. And so it naturally builds empathy there, build repeatable systems and processes to scale and grow that, grow your leadership approach along with that, and then really help companies scale and maintain that as they grow from $1 million to 10 million to 100 million, up to $1 billion. And so we've developed this repeatable operating system. We're now in beta phase where we're piloting with companies to try to refine it even further. And we'll continue to do that and really try to make an impact and find something that works.
Man, that's awesome. So what, there's some people listening right now that you obviously know what you're doing. You've been, and working with large companies for a long time. The triple bottom line, I mean, they're sold on that, and they're thinking about if they're the right type of person to call SUMMit. What kind of either company size or niche is a good fit to follow up with you about getting more info?
Yeah, so what we find, we started out working with some accelerators, and you find that companies oftentimes, they find a good problem to solve. They sometimes get funding and backing to support, and they get to growth and maybe to profitability, and you get maybe a couple million of revenue under your belt, and then you sometimes stall out because it takes another iteration of change in not only leadership, but in scalable processes to support that next level of growth. So we're looking for companies that maybe have started out, they've maybe hit their first roadblock, first or second roadblock, hit a plateau, and they're looking for ways to now scale their business, but not lose sight of who they are as leaders and their values as leaders as they grow their business. So maybe they're between 1 and 10 million. They have something that works, but they're trying to grow it in a different way and want to get into an operating system to not only support personal growth and leadership growth, but also business growth with a strategy behind it that brings all their stakeholders with them. And so it's kind of that small company, small to mid-sized company that we're looking to support to help them grow and scale with purpose. And I'll just highlight one other piece is, we feel like there's a sweet spot between the solopreneur, people just starting out, entrepreneurial leaders, and enterprise leaders. And enterprise leaders these days are trying to find ways to be more agile, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs trying to find a way to scale up and figure out how to lead up and out and build strong teams below them that can lead and engage while maintaining the purpose of their company. So we're trying to find that sweet spot in between those to help companies leverage the best of both.
Man, that's awesome. I love what you're doing. So, Eric, if somebody's listening to this and they do fit in that category, what's the best way for them to reach out and get more info on Summit?
Yeah, you can follow the conversation at ericstrafel.com. That's ERICSTRAFEL.com. I am blogging more and more. We'll get more and more information out there. This year, we'll start to build our community further. We'll keep testing and piloting. Our goal is to just give back and help companies grow with purpose.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Eric, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and all the great work that you're doing over at Summit. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. I hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes store, share this with your friends, your family, your coworkers. I mean, do all those great things we do to support our podcasters. I really do appreciate it. And Eric, thanks again for coming on.